I just got back from a wonderful week in London. I was hosted by Noteworthy, and we got to do some really, really exclusive experiences that I am so proud to be able to bring to my travelers. And so keep watching for a little bit more about some of the experiences we got to do and who I think they would be really good fit for, and a great way to kind of put together a London itinerary and how I can help you get some exclusive things.
I'm Christina. I'm a traveler, a planner, and most importantly, a mom. I'm sharing my best tips to make traveling as a family a little less stressful. So put down your phone, pack your bags, and let's showcase the world.
London is one of my favorite cities in the world. It is one of the few places where I will go back again and again and again and again. There's a lot of places where I'm like, yep, I've done that, checked it off my bucket list, I'm good. But London, I studied abroad there. I spent 6 months living there. I've now been back 3 or 4 times since then, and I still haven't done everything I wanted to do. So there's so much to do in London for any age. There's plenty, any affinity. There's so many stories and movies all filmed there that you can get anybody interested in a trip to London with a few well-placed tours. So let's talk a little bit about the tours that I did while I was there, and some of the ones that I think would be a good fit that I didn't necessarily do, but Noteworthy can provide. So Noteworthy is a destination management company. They're basically boots on the ground. My relationship with them, they don't book. You cannot just say, let me go book my trip with Noteworthy. You have to book through a travel advisor. You have to book through a Virtuoso travel advisor, which are even more rare. Thankfully, I'm a part of Virtuoso because of my association with the Gifted Travel Network. So I'm able to book these wonderful trips with Noteworthy and do some of these exclusive things that you wouldn't be able to book without someone like Noteworthy. And Noteworthy is the best in London. They have been operating since the 80s. So they are they were the first really destination management company there, and they have some access that a lot of tour groups and destination management companies don't have access to. So Noteworthy is the best of the best, and they have this access that you can't get anywhere else. So the first thing I want to talk about is personalized tours. So with a personalized tour, if you have kids who love Harry Potter, or there's a certain story, Peter Pan, Mary Poppins, whatever it may be that your kids are interested in, they can tailor a tour just for you. And that is what I love about the guides at Noteworthy, is they are Blue Badge guides, which in London means you have to take all sorts of courses and you have to pass all of these tests in order to become a Blue Badge guide. Noteworthy picks the best of the Blue Badge guides, and then the company and I work together to decide on the best tour guide for you, because different personalities work for different people. And so I get to know you. I let Noteworthy know what guide I think is going to be a great fit for you. And so they do tours. They do walking tours. So they'll, your first day there, they'll do a walking tour to help you get your basics, your bearings, your basics. You'll see Big Ben. You walk by Big Ben. You walk, maybe do the London Eye, those type of things on your first day. Then on a subsequent day, you could do something like a Harry Potter tour, or Churchill, or Royals, whatever you're interested in, maybe Henry VIII, whatever area of history, or whatever story. If it's Bridgerton, they can do a Bridgerton tour that's tailored to you and your family. What I love about the personal Noteworthy guides is it's not like going on a big tour group where you're just kind of shuffling along. They read. They can read your body language, and they can say, yeah, they're dragging, let's go stop and get a coffee, or maybe let's do this a little bit later, and they can adapt to what they are seeing. If your kids are starting to glaze over, maybe getting them involved in some way. And so the Noteworthy guides are really, really above and beyond, and they do these personalized tours, and they'll point out different things. So even if I book the same walking tour for two different families, they're going to point out different things on the tour depending on that family's interest. And maybe they had never been before, maybe they have, and they're able to point out different things. So I really love having that personal guide. And they're a little bit magic because I had a client who was on a tour, and the guide saw that it was about to rain. So they instead of walking, they got on a private boat taxi, a public boat taxi. During the rain, it rained, they got off the public boat taxi, and it stopped raining, and they moved on. So I find that the level of inexperience with a noteworthy guide is way above what you're going to get if you just book that on your own. Another thing that I mentioned that they are able to do is access. And one of the things that they have exclusive access to is the Wellington Barracks. Wellington Barracks is where the guards, the Queen's guards, live and work. And so you can go behind the scenes of the changing of the guard. We got to go to Wellington Barracks. We got to see them getting ready for inspection, warming up. We got to talk to some of the guards. They smiled for selfies. You know, Queen's guards can't smile, right? Well, when they're not on duty, they can. So we got to meet with them, ask them about their jobs, get to interact with them, see parts of their uniforms. Then we got to see them muster before the changing of the guard. And we got to see them do 2 practice songs, and we are right up close with them. We are not behind the gates with everybody else. We are up close behind the scenes in the Wellington Barracks as they get ready to go to the changing of the guard. So we did not go over to Buckingham Palace with them, but we got to get really close with them. You got to see the Eye and Big Ben in the background. So there really is no better British experience. Then we got to go into the museum, which is currently closed to the public due to lack of funds. So we got an exclusive tour of the Museum of the Guards, which was really cool to see their different uniforms and understand the military importance of these particular guards. Then, we got to do the Tower of London, so we got exclusive access to the crown jewels that not everyone can get, and we got to do the Tower of London with somebody who actually works at the Tower of London. They do have yeoman tours that go every hour, but you're going to have about 50-60 people on those tours. So, and the Tower of London's been in existence since 1066. There's a lot of stories there. You could spend weeks there and not hear all the stories of the tower. So having a private guide at the tower there is going to kind of pull out the things that you're going to want to hear. Maybe it's about the zoo, the ravens, maybe it's Henry VIII, maybe it's the War of the Roses. Whatever it is you're interested in, they're going to pull out more of those stories and leave the ones that you probably don't care about, where the yeomans just kind of have their spiel and they go through with 60 people. So having a private guide there is super, super fun. And they're able to help you get your bearings from there and go off. We also got to do something really cool at Hampton Court. Hampton Court's kind of a day trip from London. You can go out for the morning, the afternoon, or I would recommend the whole day there, especially if you're a Bridgerton fan or a Henry VIII fan or Queen Anne. This has been a working palace since Henry VIII. And, Queen Anne lived there as well. And so there's a lot of history at Hampton Court. You could spend days there as well. But what we got to do that was really, really cool was go up on the roof. And the roof is closed to the public. So due to Noteworthy's access, we were able to get up there. It would be so cool for some teens because it's definitely thrilling. There's no railings up there. You're on this really old roof. Very, very, very intimidating for someone who scares easily like myself. But it was so much fun to see the different buildings, the chimneys, the Tudor chimneys, and then the grounds you can see from up there. So that's really, really fun with teens. Definitely can't do it with children because it's definitely not safe enough, but that experience is really fun with teens, and a great, great day trip from London. It's also a great place to stop if you're going out to the countryside. If you're going to stay in the Cotswolds or in Oxford, it's a great kind of stop on the way out. And definitely recommend getting out of the city a little bit and doing some of the countryside. A lot of people like to do Windsor and Stonehenge. There's plenty of places to see, so subscribe because I'm going to be doing a video soon about day trips from London, so make sure you subscribe there. I'm also going to be doing an itinerary for the countryside, so just make sure that you hit the bell so you can watch those videos if that's something you're interested in. The other really cool experience that we did, and I would recommend doing towards the end of a trip, is street art. You get to go around the East End, which is this new up-and-coming type. I don't want to use the word hipster, but it used to be a slum, essentially, and the different immigrants would kind of come through, and so you would have, it was originally a Jewish area, then it was Pakistani, and then so there was just a lot of history here in the East End, but it wasn't necessarily a tourist destination. Now it is super hip. You have Curry Lane, Brick Row, where you can get a brick lane, which they call Curry Row. You can get all sorts of really delicious curries there. They have multiple markets over there that you can check out, daily markets, with the one over near Brick Lane does have a lot of handmade goods, which is really fun, and then a lot of street art. So you can go see the street art, and then you can create your own street art. And the reason I recommend you do this at the end of the trip is because you are able to then talk about your experience with the artist there, and you can create a piece that reminds you of your trip to London. And what they're going to do is they're going to let it dry, they're going to roll it up, and they're going to ship it to you. So you have a souvenir from your trip that you got to create together that reflects what you did on your trip. So it's a really, really cool experience. You get to see a side of London that many people don't get to see. Really, really cool for teens as well. A lot of really Instagram-worthy spots over there. And so those last two, Hampton Court and the street art, are really great for teens. The personalized tours are great for children because you'll get the history you want, but they can engage your children as well. They can do sorts of scavenger hunts through some of these historic places. And, you know, Hampton Court's great for kids as well. They have a wonderful, wonderful playground out there, and there's just so much to do. I cannot wait to bring my daughter. I think we'll probably go within the next 18 months or so, go see some of the parks and some of the museums that I know she's going to love. She's a big fan of Paddington, so we'll definitely get out to Paddington Station, especially for Harry Potter fans, you know, getting that Harry Potter tour, access to the studio tour. You can definitely spend a few days just focused on Harry Potter. You can spend a few days focused on Bridgerton, a few days focused on Downton Abbey. I think you just need a different itinerary for each of these different interests. You have to go for a week for Harry Potter, a week for each of these different things. There's just so much to do. The London Zoo is great for kids. The London Transport Museum, I'm definitely looking forward to doing with my 4-year-old. And it's just so magical and historical and cultured, and I just love it so much, obviously. But I would love to help you plan your trip to London. I would love to help you get access to some of these tours. And the great thing about Noteworthy is we don't have to do the whole trip. You can just pick 1 or 2 experiences that you want to invest in that sound really, really cool to you, and we can do those with Noteworthy, and we can book the rest elsewhere. And so that's my London adventures. I got to do some really, really cool exclusive things. Like I said, I'm going to do the video on what we did outside, so we'll talk about Windsor and Hampton Court a little bit more, as well as Oxford. But thank you for joining me. Hit subscribe to get the notifications for those. If London doesn't really sound like a place you want to go, but you definitely want to travel with your kids, download my guide, 18 Summers, 18 Destinations for every age. So if you have young kids, the best 4 for toddlers, the best 4 for grade schoolers, etc., etc. So you essentially have 1 destination for every year, and you can get that below. And don't forget to take a break from the busy.
Need help planning your next family vacation? Visit us at showcasetheworld.com to request a quote or schedule a free vacation consultation. Want more great travel tips? You'll find those there too.